Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the on-track series video for the Polish Tier 10 medium tank, the CS-63. Now, the tank at the top of this line is just so goddamn good. The Tier 10 is fantastic. The Tier 9 is fantastic. The Tier 8, especially with the DPM it's got, is just nutty. The Tier 7's, it's alright. It's not the best. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it's not bad, but it's not brilliant. It's just, it sits there in this weird middle ground where it's like, I'm kind of mediocre. But I've got a meme in the fact that I've got a big 300 alpha 100mm gun. The Tier 6, the Buggy, has got a derp gun, so instantly, derp is love, derp is life. I love it. And this Tier 5 is, well, this Tier 5's god awful. I don't like it at all. But it's a Tier 5, so are you meant to like it? No, you're probably meant to just play it and move on, right? So, yeah, I mean, the whole line, it's just been a blast to play. I've really, really enjoyed this whole line. It's just been, it's one of those lines that, from the get-go, from playing it, it's just been like, yeah, I kind of like this. This is really fun. Except for, like I said, I didn't really enjoy playing through this tank all that much that you see in front of me. So, this first tank that we're playing is the DS.Pzinz, or Pzinz? Pizin? Who knows? The DS.Pzinz, we'll go with it. It's the Tier 5. And it's just a thoroughly mediocre Tier 5 medium tank, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's not really got anything special about it. It is just a Tier 5 medium tank. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. It's just a Tier 5 medium tank, right? Standard run-of-the-mill tank. It's got 135 standard pen, 175 premium pen, which, to be fair, 175 premium pen, by the way, is really, really good. I won't take that away from it. That's really good. And it carries quite a lot of shells. In terms of what I'd run on this tank, I'd run the rammer, the optics and vents, because, well, rammer, optics and vents, better 10% better DPM, better everything with vents, just that little bit better, which is nice. And obviously you want to boost your view range up as much as possible in this game, because it's make or break a lot of the time. And in terms of the crew, it's the same. Like, as always, I used the same crew all the way up the line here for this line generally, and that is Brothers in Arms, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camo Expertise, Run and Gun, Steady Aim, Trap Mechanic, and Camouflage Expertise. I've just said Camouflage Expertise, haven't I? Muffled Shot. That's the one. Muffled Shot. Now, I used the camo one, especially, to be fair, it's especially nice to have it on the lower tier tanks, because camo a lot of the time, having your view range as much as possible and having the camo is really helpful. And Muffled Shot and Camouflage Expertise really does help. And to be honest, I've noticed it quite a lot on the Tier 10 as well. It really kind of helps it in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of times you think, oh, I'm going to get spotted here, and you just don't. And you're like, oh, that must be the camouflage stuff. But yeah, so I run the camouflage. I mean, you could run far more aggressive perks, to be fair. You know, you could run the snapshot, you could run stuff to make the turret run faster, or firefighting perks, all that sort of lovely good stuff. It's just, I mean, the crew skills are always personal preference. There's always going to be like 4 or 5, 6 skills that you're always going to pick, like Situational Awareness, the Rapid Reload, Brothers in Arms, Trap Mechanic, Sixth Sense, etc, etc. But beyond all of that, it's just personal preference. And it just really is down to what you want to run on the tank and how you want to play it. So in this game, in the DS.Pzinz, I will always mop that tank up. I have no idea how you say that. Anybody that's Polish might be able to best spell that out. How you're actually supposed to say it, I don't know. We are obviously on highway. We've blitzed the town with our friends, and there's only 4 tanks left. And obviously we are really bottom tier as well, by the way. This has been a very bottom tier game, so we've done quite nicely, really, for what we've had to face. We've done 1300 damage, 505 assistance. Like I said, we've been shooting at mostly Tier 7s, so yeah. we're going to basically go in. We know where all their tanks are. There's that medium tank down there that we can get shots at, which I am now going to angle myself up to be able to get shots at him. So we're going to get some nice shots into the side of this guy. I've got the premium in because it's a P43 Tur, and even with the premium, as you've just seen, we can bounce off this guy's frontal plate. So we're just making sure we shut him down, and now it's time to go in on the CS-44. We don't have to worry about a TD shutting us down if we go after this CS-44, because he is up at E1, and he's been attacked by my friends. So what I'm going to do is focus on trying to get rid of this CS-44. Now, we get a nice shot into the side of his turret. And you see, the one thing about this tank that is, I don't know, the reload on this tank feels a little bit slow. Now, obviously, it is like I think it's 135 damage on this gun. Which, you know, it's not the worst for tier 5. A lot of guns at tier 5 have only like 115. It's quite nice. And we get kind of lucky there that that guy misses us. I auto-aimed the shot there like a donkey. I should have aimed, I would have got the kill, but unfortunately we ended up auto-aiming it and missing, therefore we didn't get that kill. But we finished the game with 3 kills, 1800 damage, 519 assistance, ace tanker, leather schlilos. See, that could have been an Oskins medal quite easily if I just aimed, and we would have had a nice little shiny medal for killing higher tier tanks. But we finished that with 2 kills on higher tier tanks anyway. I mean, that's a really nice thing to have. So we're on to the second game, and we're on the B.U.G.I. And the B.U.G.I, the B.U.G.I, I love it. I love it. Love the tank. It's fantastic. It's got a dirt gun, so that's why I love it so much. I've said it's fantastic, but is it actually a fantastic tank? I would probably say it's a good tank. But it's not brilliant. It has drawbacks, like the speed. The speed of the tank for a medium is not the best. Its reverse speed is awful. Honestly, the reverse speed is atrocious. But having this dirt gun, right, 300 alpha on these APCR rounds with 168 pen, is it? Yeah, 168 pen it's just dirty. It is. There's no other way to describe it. It's dirty. If I'm honest, and I mean, if you ask a lot of other people, running the 90mm is probably better, just because you have the penetration to deal with tier 9s and stuff when you come against them. This is definitely, I think Randy described it in a good way. This is a +1, -1 gun. It's a gun that you can love to run, and is probably best to run in +1, -1, because 168 pen is pretty much enough for every tank you're going to meet tier 8 below. But when you're facing the tier 9s, it's going to struggle. And to be honest, I've not really struggled all that much with this gun. It's just been memey just to slap people up with it. And when I've not had the penetration, I've just loaded the HE, because it is a dirt gun after all. I just loaded the HE and slapped it into them for, you know, like 70 damage, and it's really nice. So in this game, on steps, we're just mauling this line. We've got quite a few kills already. We've been slapping shots in. We're up to 1500 damage. I'm playing it kind of risky, driving in front of these guys. We fully aimed the shot. Because there's one thing with this dirt gun, with the B.U.G.I, you've got to make sure it's fully aimed. Now, I'll say the 90mm is probably better, but I pretty much only used, well, I say pretty much. I used the 90mm when I was stock, and that's why I say it's a damn good gun, the 90mm on this tank. But this 100mm, look at that, 277. We are just slapping people when we pen them. Look, 245. We probably wouldn't have killed that guy if we had the 100mm. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. 5.7 second reload for 300 alpha is just filthy. And this HE is really good against light tanks and lightly armoured medium tanks that you see at this tier as well. And you can pen them for 410 damage. Honestly, it's a thing of beauty. You've just got to make sure that you don't overextend yourself in this tank all that much, and that you don't put yourself in situations where you just can't back out of. And you can't get out of, because obviously, like I say, this tank is not the most mobile tank in the universe. It's got not the most, well, it's not got the best forward speed, and it's not got the best backward speed. It can hit 55, but will it hit 55 all the time? No. You're probably seeing right now what it's going to stick to, about 40 kilometers an hour, probably 45. which is pretty slow for a medium tank. I mean, this tank really does look like the MX-40, so it's the Polish duck, right? If you look at it from the other end, it really, from the front, looking face on, it really does look there like a duck tank. In terms of equipment on this tank, by the way, I run rammer, optics, and vents. Again, exactly the same as the Tier 5. I mean, this tank can't run vert stabs. It's a derpy gun, right? But it can't run vert stabs, so you don't really have much other options other than rammer, optics, and vents. Obviously, the vents makes your aim time better slightly, makes your DPM slightly better, makes your accuracy slightly better, just makes everything slightly better, view range, all that good stuff. View range, obviously, because, well, view range is king, you just need that to be as good as possible. And DPM, well, because this thing already reloads quite quickly and it's nice to have, right? And the crew skills, like I say, is exactly the same as the Tier 5, or just, yeah, that's what I've run. It's the same crew all the way up. So, we managed to get a shot into the Tiger, and we are now charging back to try and get this medium tank as he crosses over. I'm hopefully going to get a shot into this VK. Can we feather the shot under the train tracks? And unfortunately, the artillery shuts him down just before I get the shot in. But we finished that game with a nice epic victory, as the MVP screen tells us. And we finished that game with 6 kills, 2.4k damage, 429 assists. And if we want to go and move over there, we get Ace Tanker, Top Gun, 1695 base XP. The buggy, it's a lot of fun, honestly. I mean, if you use that 100mm, the 100mm is definitely dirty, and it's just great fun, honestly. Just slapping people up with it is beautiful. So we're on to the next tank in the line, and that is the CS-44. Now the CS-44, it's, like I say, it's not the best Tier 7 medium tank in the universe. I wouldn't say it's great. It can get outclassed by a lot of tanks, but it does have 2 pretty nice guns. The 90mm is more accurate, has better DPM. It's just generally quite a nice gun to use. And the 100mm is slightly derpier. The reload's not that great, but it's got 300 alpha. And it's, it may be slightly derpy, right, but for a 100mm gun at this tier, for 300 alpha, it's not that bad accuracy-wise, if we're totally honest. Like, compared to, say, the Leo's 100mm, which is really derpy, really bad aim time. This is not that. And I really enjoyed it just for the alpha. The alpha on it is just great. It's got 168 pen on its AP rounds on its standard. It's got 220 heat round pen. Now, the heat obviously is a bit of a pain in the ass, because when you shoot things in the spaced armour, it can really do you in. But having that extra pen is nice. On the 90mm, I think you only have about 200 pen on the APCR premium round. Now, it's nice to have that APCR premium round, but it's not as good as having 220 pen. So it's really up to you, because obviously, as well as that, the 90mm gun on this tank, that's one thing as well that you've got to take into mind. Yeah, take in mind, right? Is that the 100mm gun on this tank only gets 6 degrees of gun depression, but you get 8 degrees of gun depression if you put the 90mm gun on it. So again, it's all personal preference. Like, I like the alpha. I'm an alpha whore. I love to have higher alpha. If I have the option to have a gun that's not atrocious but has higher alpha, I will take it every time, because this gun is competitive. It's competitive alongside the 90mm, and it's just one of those things. It's not like one of those guns where you pick it and you just completely screwing yourself out of anything you want to do, right? It's not. Like I said, I think the first video I did on the CS-44, the title was The Luxury of Choice, and it's true. You've got the luxury of choice. You can decide how, if you want to have high DPM, better accuracy, better gun depression, you can do that. But if you want to have the higher alpha and just be able to feel like you're really, really taking the fight to the higher tier tanks, that's what this gun can do. Because that's one thing I like about it, and that is when you're facing tier 9 tanks, like in this matchmaking. This matchmaking we're in right now in the CS-44 on Fisherman's Bay is atrocious. Doing 300 alpha to tier 9 tanks is delightful, because they may slap you, but you slap them, and that's great. So on this game on Fisherman's Bay, we have taken the normal position I'd like to take at E6. We've got a nice lot of shots that we got, as you've seen, into the Concept 1B, into the 50 TP, and we've done a decent amount of damage so far. We're up to 1640, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. So we get a nice shot into the Dragon to shut him down, and I'm trying to see if I can get a shot at this artillery, but he's kind of awkwardly behind buildings and stuff. But fortunately enough, he ends up falling back straight into my gun line, and we shut him down. So we've actually got shots that it's really nice that we've got shots into these guys that are camping in the corner as well. The E75 is just, he is exactly what we wanted, right? He's just sitting there letting us aim our shots fully in, waiting for the reload to go in, because like I say, with this 100mm it is quite a slow reload. 9.3 seconds isn't that fast, but like I say, I mean, the Leo's 100mm is definitely worse, and I really enjoyed that. Like I say, having high alpha at the tier is definitely a nice thing to have, especially when you see tier 9s, because it's nice to have that on the Talon as well. The Talon has an abysmal rate of fire, but 390 alpha on a tier 7 medium tank is something not to be trifled with, and that's nice, and it kind of makes things hesitate a little bit if they see you, you know. So we're just pushing straight into this corner now. We got a nice shot into the artillery. Unfortunately, we couldn't quite finish off the 53, 55. We're now going to try and push in and see if we can get a shot into this last medium tank. But unfortunately, the Standard B gets shut down by our artillery, of all things. And we finished that game with the epic victory. And we finished it with 2 kills, 3k damage, 1638 assistance. And this is one of those tanks as well that I have. I've already 3-marked it. I played it, I think Randy was 3-marking it. And it was like, oh, I'm just going to, because he's playing through the line, so he's 3-marking up this tech tree. And I was like, oh, you know what, I need to play the CS-44 more. You know, I'll play it along with you. And I ended up just playing it along with him and just finishing it, because it was actually kind of fun. Like I say, this tank isn't the best tier 7, and it can certainly get done in, especially when you go against tanks that have got incredibly high alpha. Not incredibly high alpha? No, tanks that have got low alpha but incredibly high rate of fire. That's the way I'm going on about it. If tanks have great rate of fires, they're just going to wreck you, and you can't really do much about it. It's got that sort of armour that can ricochet the odd shot, but it's not got great armour, and it's the same all the way up the line. So we're on to a tank that is, honestly, this tank is just fantastic. We're on to the CS-63, and the replay that you're actually seeing right now, right, and what we're going to be doing in it is stock. Now you might be, yeah, you're looking at the tank going, wait, that turret looks rather Soviet. It's really rounded. I thought the turret had like a cupola on it. Yeah, it does. This is stock. This is completely stock, by the way, right? And I was thinking, should I put a fully upgraded replay in here so you get to see what the tank's like fully upgraded? And I thought, you know what? Because this game is a good game, it's a really nice game for the tank. It shows what this tank can do perfectly. But it shows what it can do perfectly when it's stock. And when it's fully upgraded, it's just even better. Because this reload, you're looking at this reload now, right? And you're thinking, wow, 6.6 seconds reload with it fully pimped. That's really good reload for a 300 alpha gun. Consider that the CS-52 least fires in 7.2 seconds for 320, right? This fires in 6.6, and this is the second gun. It's not the stock gun. This is the second gun, right? This gun that you're seeing right now has 175 pen with 230 heat pen, which is why we've loaded the heat right now to go for this VK101P's cupola, because we're never going to pen it with the 175 pen AP. The top gun on this tank has a 6 seconds reload base. Well, I say base, fully pimped like this one is now. 6 seconds. 6 seconds for 300 alpha. It's filthy. It's beautifully filthy. It's amazing. And it gets 212 standard pen and 290 heat pen. It's got enough penetration to deal with anything you're ever going to face at tier 8. It's fantastic. And the tank it's just amazing. Like, It's not the most mobile in the universe. For a medium tank, it gets up to about 50 kilometers an hour. So the mobility of the tank isn't outstanding. Mobility-wise, you're saying mediocre, but the gun is fantastic. The DPM is fantastic. The armor on it isn't great, but it's the type that can just ricochet the odd shot. Again, like I say, you will just ricochet shots here and there. And I cannot speak highly enough of this tank. It's one that everybody is going to love playing. You just got to remember that you haven't got the armor and to bounce shots, so you don't want to be like going headfirst into tanks thinking, oh, I can bounce this, I can bounce that, because you can't. In terms of equipment, I do run a rammer, vert stabs, and optics. Optics, like I say, because you want to boost your view range as high as possible. Vert stabs because the gun does have 0.38 accuracy, and 0.38 accuracy isn't the best. So even with the crew skills, you get it down to about 0.27. So you want to be just buffing it up even more with the vert stabs as much as you can, because you want to be helping that gun accuracy as much as possible, so you can make the most of this incredible DPM. And I mean, you see in here, this gun is just, this gun right now, the second gun, is just tearing people apart, and it's fantastic. So right now we're going to try and side scrape this SU-122-54, and unfortunately we end up overexposing a little bit too much, and he pens us. This T-54 ends up driving out sideways on, giving us a free shot, which is very friendly of him. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm wanting to get rid of this SU-122-54 because he concerns me, because I'm thinking he could at any stage decide, I'm just going to charge around this corner and just dump a shell into you. And the SU-122-54 does have pretty decent DPM as well on its 440 Alpha T 122mm gun. So he is concerning me. This T-54 is also slightly on my radar, but now the SU is a one-shot. I say great shot to the guy behind me that put a nice shot into him. We drive around the corner, make sure we aim the shot, and finish him off, because we don't want to auto-aim the shot there. We don't want to be a moron and potato-aim it straight into his gun manlet, because he would end up killing us. We get a nice shot into the back of that M46 pattern as well. Shut him down. We're up to 3.5k damage, which is nice. This T-29 is a bit of a nuisance because he's hull down, but now he's starting to turn around and deal with the light tank behind him. We're going to see if we can get a shot into him, but fortunately enough, the light tank gets to finish him off. Now there's a 257 over there. Now, that 257 is going to be awkward. If I was fully upgraded with the fully upgraded gun, he wouldn't be awkward, because I could pen that guy very easily and we'd have no problems. Because 212 pen, I'd be able to pen his lower plate really easily. And with the 290 heat pen, well, I'd wreck his tank. I'd just wreck his tank, because I'd be able to pen his upper plate if he over-angles it a little bit. I can pen his lower plate easily. With the 175mm on this standard pen on this gun, on this second gun, he is a struggle, because the lower plate even then is about, I think it's about 180, something like that. I know the lower plate is ridiculously well angled, and that just makes it a bit of a nuisance to pen. So that's why we've got the heat rounds in. But this Tortoise is also just driven in front of us, giving us his side, which is like friendly. Can't thank you very much, sir. Unfortunately, we don't quite get the shot in. This 257 is looking at us, it gets a shot. I'm incredibly lucky to be alive there. I don't know why I poked, because he could have quite easily killed me. But now we're just going to put that really good DPM to use. And he's actually just decided, you know what, I'm just not going to bother with this guy now, and driven off. Unfortunately, the heat shell ended up flying above his tank. I was going to try and drive up behind him, but actually the best option now is to get around here so I can get a shot into him. Unfortunately, we ricochet on his side armor, which his side armor can be a pain in the backside. But he's driving in front of us. He's the last tank left. We make sure they aim the shot in perfectly into his lower plate, and he's dead. So we finished that game with 6 kills, 5.2k damage, 536 assistance, and this is while we're stock. Honestly, ace tanker, top gun, high caliber. This tank, you just saw how good this tank is when it's stock. This tank is even better fully upgraded, and that was 2.2k base, by the way. That's a really nice game for the tank. It's just a fantastic, I can't speak highly enough of this tank. It's utterly nutty. It's a great tank to play. It's, oh, whew, I love it. I really enjoy it. And onto another tank that is nutty. Nutty. Nutty is the word of the video, because we're into the nutty sections. The tier 8's nutty, the tier 9's nutty, the tier 10's nutty. This entire line is just nutty. It's so much fun to play. This line has been fantastic. Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the start of the video is that I think they've just announced that the Leopard 1 is going to be on track. Normally, obviously, the on track would be released for the tank that's on track on the day, on today, whatever day, Tuesday. I will play some games to get games for that and release it hopefully by next week, because obviously the on track is about 2 weeks. I did mean to play some games to get some stuff for the Leopard because someone asked me to, but I ended up getting a game in the Leopard 1 and none of the others. And actually, to be fair, what I've not done is actually been up the Leopard medium line. I've got the Leopard 1 and the Leopard PTA, but through the light tank line. So you'll also get to be experienced some of the other mediums in that line that I haven't played through, because I'm going to grind them, unlock them and play them. But anyway, side note, we're on mines in the CS-59. This tank is beautiful, right? It's a medium tank that's, again, it's not got the best, it's got mediocre mobility, right? 50 kilometers an hour on a medium tank, you're looking at that going it's kind of mediocre. When you get up to 60, obviously that's where it's like, this is insanely good mobility. 50 is, yeah. It doesn't always reach 50 on flat. You tend to go to about 47, 48, so it's about similar to the M48 pattern. You know, it's not brilliant, but it's enough to do what you need to do with this tank. It's got 252 standard pen on its AP. It's got APCR with 293 pen, which is fantastic. 390 alpha gun. It's got this 6.6 second base reload for 390. It's honestly beautiful. You really can put the hurt in. And it's got the kind of armour again where it's not really reliable armour, but you can ricochet the odd shot like you've just seen twice there. We've just ricocheted 2 shots. It's armour that you shouldn't rely on, but you can just make the odd occasional bounce that will save you. Not like, say, playing a CDC, which is just going to get penned every time, right? So, we're on mines, and we are putting the hurt into these guys. We're trying to stop them progressing up this hill. We've got some dangerous tanks in front of us. A 279E and the machine. Obviously, there's this Tortoise as well, which has incredible DPM. But we're showing the weak point of a Tortoise there, in the fact that we don't have to shoot the cupola to pen a Tortoise. You can pen the gun port on the right-hand side of it, and that's only about 240mm effective, which with the new damage RNG, well, it's not damage RNG, the pen RNG, which is actually plus 25 minus 10, so you actually get higher pen rolls more often, means that Tortoise weak spot is just going to be buttered up by tanks with 250 pen like this tank. This tank's got 252 pen. It will destroy that Tortoise's gun port every single time. So in terms of equipment, by the way, for this tank, it's exactly the same as the CS-53, and it's the same as I run on the CS-63 as well. That is the rammer, the vert stabs and the optics. I went over that in the tier 8, exactly the same reasons. You want the view range to be as high as possible. It's got 0.38 accuracy, which you want to make better. And yeah, you want to make your DPM better as well. So we're dealing. That's the word we're looking for. We're dealing with the 279E in front of us. So we've loaded the APCR because the AP is not going to pen that guy, and he is just an awkward bugger to pen. They're so frustrating to pen 279Es because you can hit the same spot twice. Pen one, bounce one. Just the way they are. We've got 292 pen, or 293 pen even, and that's enough to go through the spot if we hit it right. But we've got to hit the extreme angles on it to be able to pen it. And you know what? Instead of bleeding health to that guy, I've decided I'm going to come over here. Unfortunately, we end up missing the shot on that T54 lightweight. No, it's a T100 LT. Get it right, fool. And now there is this Waffle Panzer IV spot at the back. Now, like I say, the armor on this tank is not that good. You've got a rounded turret, right? Which means you can ricochet the odd shot off of it. But against something like the Waffle Panzer IV, yeah, it's going to hurt you. And I'm trying to just poke out and spot him again because we want him to be gone, but unfortunately not quite lighting him up. So I'm going to just rotate back round again. And I'm going to see what I can try and do. I think I spotted the 279E, was it, that had gone behind? No, he's still there. He ends up putting a shot into us, which is really bad. It means we're a one-shot. We get lucky there with the fact that damage RNG is a thing, and that got changed because that T100 LT should have killed us. We had 289 hit points. He left us on 11. With his 320 alpha, he should have killed us. But we got lucky, like I say, and we survived on 11 hit points. And now this 279E is looking like he might be bold, right? Because we're a one-shot. He can easily pen us. And he's also a one-shot. So it's kind of like, will he risk it to try and get a shot into us? I want him gone. He's turned to look away because the T100 got behind him. And the T100 actually finishes him off. Now there's this FV215B. And he's turned around for some reason to chase the light tank. He's giving me 3 shots into his back. Unfortunately, we don't quite get another shot into him. But he's lost most of his health going off there, which means he could be an easily taken out tank by the heavy tank, sorry, and the light tank over at E2. Now this medium tank is coming up. Medium tank, heavy tank, and the Emil 2, sorry, couldn't quite see the icon. The Emil 2 is coming up, and I am scared. I'm not going to survive that because he's an autoloader, number 1, so I could ricochet 1 shot possibly, but not 2, 3, or 4. And he's a 2-shot for me, so I'm not finishing that off either. So, we get out of dodge, because we don't want to take the shots from that guy. We don't want to die. But our T100 LT has actually gone up and attacked this Emil 2, which is good, and he's actually killed him, which is great. This game is really close at the minute. There's just me, that heavy, and the light tank against 2 TDs, which is, one is a Death Star, and the other one is, I think the other one's still the Waffle Panzer IV, maybe? The Death Star's going to delete someone. Obviously, I'm a one-shot no matter what, right? If they catch me out, I'm going to die. There is no doubt about it. And fortunately enough, the Death Star gets spotted up, but we can't quite get shots at the back end of him. We know that Waffle Panzer IV was spotted back there earlier on, so we try and pop a blind shot in, and just as we do it, it's Sod's Law, right? Just as we do it, the Death Star drives out sideways on, and we couldn't quite get a shot at him. But he keeps driving forwards, and I'm really hoping that he'll drive out so I can get a free shot into him. Because the heavy tank is sort of luring him out a little bit here, because I imagine he's spotted. The Death Star pokes out, we get a nice shot into him. Hopefully we'll get another one in. We finish him off, and now it's just the Waffle Panzer IV lurking at the back of the map. Now I'm being a bit tentative here when I push, because it's like, if he's still in that bush, he's going to spot us and kill us. But actually, the Waffle Panzer IV did a big brain play. He fully caught us out there. I did not expect that. And if I hadn't pushed forward at the moment I did, he would have killed me. The T100 LT YOLOs him, which the T100 can take a shot. He puts 2 shots into this Waffle Panzer IV. The Waffle misses. I'm hopefully trying to get a shot into him as a poke round. And the T100 ends up missing, and we finish off the Waffle. That play from the Waffle was really good. He ends up catching us all out, but fortunate enough for us, we just managed to take him out. So we finished that game with 3 kills, 5.4k damage, 451 assistance, ace tanker, Confederate medal, high caliber, 1855 base XP in a fantastic tier 9. Honestly, the tier 9 was just a lot of fun to play. It was a lot of fun to grind. Just like the whole line, to be fair. It's a really good tank. It's just really enjoyable. Like, it can really fight off. It's got really good DPM and a really good gun. And that's one thing that these tanks have. That is a really good gun and really good DPM. They don't really have armour. Up until this tank, they kind of have mediocre mobility. So it's all about the gun and the DPM. But the one thing that this tank, you know, we said mediocre mobility for the last couple of tanks, right? This tank doesn't have that. This tank has utterly fantastic mobility. So you see in here, we've activated the gas turbine engine. That's a feature it has. You activate it by clicking the same button you would as the siege mode for the Swedish TDs. And it takes 2 seconds, activates, and you get over 30 horsepower per ton. And you get up to 70 kilometers an hour. So you see there, we're just so nimble over that area there, which can be a nightmare to climb sometimes. I was thinking of YOLOing straight down the 2 line, right? But I changed my mind with the fact that look what my team's done. I decided, because of what my team had done, I wasn't going to YOLO into that 2-line bowl area, because if I went in and they had 3 or 4 guys that did it, I'd be dead because I'd have no backup and no one firing. So I decided, screw that, I'm going to go the other way and just make it safer. This tank, I run rammer, vert stabs and optics. Now it does have 0.36 accuracy, so you could possibly, you could quite possibly drop the vert stabs and put in vents. But to be honest, again, make the gun handling as good as possible, because the DPM on this tank is just dank. 6.3 seconds fully pimped, and then you activate food and you get it down to 6 seconds for 390 alpha. My god, this tank is fantastic. You can nearly permatrack people with 390 alpha. It's honestly, it's beautiful. The gun handling is pretty damn nice. The mobility is great. Even without the gas turbine engine, you get up to 55 kilometers an hour, and you do hit that 55 kilometers an hour really quite nicely. Now, if you use the gas turbine engine, by the way, and you climb the hill on Himmelsdorf, fun fact for the day, you can go at over 40 kilometers an hour up the Himmelsdorf hill. Mental, I know. So, we're on Cliff. It's Cliff. We got Cliff. We got it right. It's not Mountain Pass. It's not Arctic region. It's Cliff. We said it all right. I got there. I got it right. So, we're on Cliff. We came up behind the FV4202. We tracked him, killed him, and now we're in a position to spot their guys camping in their base. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I want to get up here. I want to get shots into these guys' sides, like this U.D.S. and the 777. And we're going to just put this gnarly gun handling and DPM to work. We get a nice shot into the tracks of the 777, pen and track him, pin him in place, which means we're getting all of that assistance, finish him off, and the artillery gets finished off as well, which is great. This Super Conqueror down here is going to be a pain in the backside. Fortunately enough for us, he ends up shooting us in the gun, which means we don't get penned. But he's in a really awkward spot, because we can just about see his upper plate, which we can't pen. We can only really see his turret. We can see a minuscule amount of his lower plate, which is just going to make it awkward. Like I say, it's all awkward. We see the artillery though. We've got to go up and finish off the artillery, because if you don't shoot the piggy when it's spotted, what is wrong with you, right? And you see, we've got the little bit of his lower plate there. The shot flies straight in. We penetrate it, and we're just looking for more shots at him. Unfortunately, he gets unspotted as we poke up, which means we get penned. And I decided, I'm trying to think, now he's fired, do I want to just poke up and shoot this E4? You know what, I've got the hit points right. If that Super Conqueror wants to shoot me and put 1 or 2 shots into me, I'll just take the shots. I'll take the shots to do the damage into the E4. We try and snap the cupola of the Super Conqueror, but unfortunately it ends up missing. And you know what, we're going to try and get a shot into this U.D.S., but this dead wreck in front of me is just a pain. Look at the gun, that is really awkward. And unfortunately we end up ricocheting off of the upper plate of the U.D.S., because the U.D.S. has a really, really well-angled upper plate, which can ricochet a lot of shots. But that Super Conqueror is getting YOLO'd, so we're going to look for a shot into the side of the E4's turret. We'll finish him off, and the likelihood of getting another shot into this Super Conqueror is very unlikely, but will we get it? We are. We aimed for the cupola. We did actually get the shot, but unfortunately we end up missing it, and he gets finished off by the WZ-111 QL. And we finished that game with a very nice tally for this tank. We finished with 3 kills, 5.1k damage, 4.2k assistance, that's 9k combined. Ace Tanker, High Caliber, Confederate, these were in the first week, by the way. So the Ace Tanker requirement is a little bit lower than it is now, because this tank is honestly ripping it up with people. Because it's just the DPM means you can do so much damage, and obviously the mobility also means you can get a whole bunch of assisted. I know for the MOE for this tank, for people that have been doing it, it's just crazily high. It's like over 7k to get any decent movement, which is just nutty. So I thought, you know what, because it's a brand new tank, I'm going to put in 2 replays for it. We're going to show you 2 replays of the CS-63, because honestly I can't get enough of the tank. I can't get enough of watching it. It's a lot of fun to play, and I thought, you know what, let's just keep showing it off. So we're on steps this time. You've just seen us use that turbine engine again to get into position. You are seeing one thing there with, one thing that's quite bad about the tank there, which it's got to have some drawbacks, right? reverse speed. The reverse speed at 15 kilometers an hour is noticeably very, very slow, right? That's almost at heavy tank levels of reverse speed. And you really do feel it. When you try and back out of a situation sometimes, it can be a pain in the backside. So this Falcon YOLOs me, which, you know, is kind of annoying. But I actually, and I'm quite proud of that shot, by the way. Very proud of that shot. When he YOLO'd in, I thought, you know what, you're not getting away from this situation. So I free-aimed the shot at his tracks and ended up tracking and penning him. I'm very proud of that shot because it stopped him dead, pinned him in place, and he died for it. He might have YOLO'd us and then got away round the back of us if we hadn't tracked it. Or he could have rammed us. It actually looked like he was just going in full YOLO for the ram, right? And, you know, YOLO light tanks. Just the state of play. The 13105 YOLOs, bounces one, pens one, and then gets out of dodge. We've got a lot of their team in front of us. We managed to shut down the Progetto 65, and we're just going to try and put this gun to use because we have such fantastic DPM. So we really want to make the most of it. We don't want to be sitting on our heels. We don't want to be twiddling our thumbs. We want to try and help our guys out as much as possible. There's 277 YOLOs in the light tank, but we get one shot into him. Unfortunately, we can't get any more in. He's actually coming back up again, which means we're going to get another shot. And like I say, you just want to take in with this tank just how quickly we're racking up the damage. I mean, we're at less than 3 minutes and we're at 3.1k, right? Unfortunately, the QL pumped in a shot, and I'm kind of looking at my teammates, kind of like, I'm looking at the two mediums behind me, kind of like, please push up, please help. The QL, that's dirty. The QL just got one bombed by the T92. This Progetto 46 is just caught out in the open, and the poor guy is not getting away from this situation. We're going to shut him down. We're going to look at this Badger behind as well, which is an awkward one to pen. His lower plate is about 175 effective, and that can be slightly awkward to pen. So we're firing the AP. You see the orange pen marker there. Like I said, it's not a guaranteed pen, even with AP. So I'm quite surprised I didn't actually load APCR there, but hey, we still managed to pen him a couple of times. We activate the gas turbine engine. And the one thing that this gun has when it's in the gas turbine engine is a massive bloom. It's not going to hit shells, but RNG does take the occasional shell in its hands and guides it into the target. And we killed that T-28 prop very luckily. We shouldn't have hit that guy, because that is one of the downsides of activating, like I say, they're activating this gas turbine. The turret traverse gets worse, the gun handling becomes atrocious, and yeah, I couldn't always recommend taking shots on the move. That is one thing about this gas turbine engine, by the way. Just because the tank can go zoom zoom doesn't mean you should, okay? The tank can go quickly, but don't always use it to go quickly, because there's a lot of downsides to it. You just need to use it when you know the damage is in the far reaches of the game. Now, we loaded HE to come after this gorilla, and unfortunately the first round that we actually fired at him when we came around the corner hit his gun and broke it. We didn't pen it. The second round penned for over 400 odd, which is nice, and then unfortunately just as we fired that last shell, it ended up getting, he got killed before the shell hit him. But we managed to come around on this T95, finish him off, and end up with 6 kills, 6.2k damage, 1800 assist, and a very nice game for the tank. Unfortunately, that would have been 7 if that last shot had actually penned and killed the gorilla, but that's just the way it is, being greedy on that point. So we finished that game with 1600 base XP, like I say. We finished with like 8k combined. It's a beautiful tank. It's a lot of fun. Everyone is going to love this tank when they get it. It's so good, and it's definitely a lot of fun. But like I say, if it goes zoom zoom, doesn't mean you'd have to use it, right? So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!